job on at the fourth chapel today, winner of the 2023 Church of the Year competition, and a very famous, very beautiful old church here on the site of an old rath, right near Knockmany where I live in the parish of Clogher. It's the old church there, built in the 1800s. And I'm very lucky to have been asked to add a little bit of colour and a little bit of a garden to this site. So the first thing we're going to be doing is looking at this bank. As you can see, I think there's a lot of wildflowers, even some slight oddities like that Lords and Ladies or that Arum matriculata plant. So I'm going to be mixing through all the wildflowers, as many as I can keep, all of these happy little things. We've got honeysuckle and clematis that are going to climb up that green fencing that you've seen. We've got geraniums to cover the ground. We've got little tiny rhododendrons, all sorts of ground cover and shrubs to provide evergreen colour, blooms, flowers. It's going to look really gorgeous. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. So this bank at the minute is just grass, and so the first job is to delicately shear away the grass. A lot of people would just get a strimmer out and buzz the whole thing to within an inch of its life, and that would be quite a lot quicker than what you see me doing here. But like I said, I've noticed that there's a lot of interesting plants already growing in this hedgerow here, and so I don't want it to be so stark. I can't really cover this whole bank in black plastic, though I will be using some black plastic, as you'll see later. But I can't keep the weeds and the grass off this bank. I don't want to be spraying with chemicals. I don't want to be using like complete coverage with black plastic. I don't want to be back here all the time faffing about with it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and accentuate what's already here, encourage the plants that I want to keep, attack the grass, snip it all away, and then I'm going to create little holding bays in this bank for the shrubs that I've got. So here I am again with this mattock. It really is such a handy tool. You can be quite delicate with it, which it doesn't look like it when you first see it. You think it's a big ignorant pickaxe, but it can do just so many different jobs. You can sledgehammer, tamper, it can cut through roots, it can open up ground like nothing else. It's kind of a bit of a spade, a bit of a pickaxe, bit of an axe, bit of a sledgehammer. It's just really useful. So I reach for mine all the time, and it's just helping me here in this bank to open up some shelves where these plants that I'm bringing now are going to sit. I know, I'm not sure if you can see from the video, but this bank is pretty much vertical, and there's not a lot of space to dig a big hole. So I'm relying on the roots that the plants have grown to get a good start going. I'm going to fill the hole full of bone meal, which is that red bucket, compost. I even brought some manure with me, cow manure. So I'm going to make these little shelves as rich as I possibly can. When you're planting shrubs like this, they always say like dig a hole twice as big as the root system, and that just wasn't really possible here. But I'm hopeful. Bone meal, I think, is going to be the secret. It's fish blood and bone meal it's going to be the secret sauce for this, because it's got all of the vital nutrients and all of the minerals that the plants need to get going. And most of these things are pretty hardy. They're evergreen, a lot of them. Some of them are native, and so they should be okay in this kind of environment. So I'm just loosening up the roots. I'm settling into the wee shells that I've dug, the wee holes. And it's time to start designing how this planting scheme is going to actually work in practice. So we're nearly finished. It's took quite a long time, but each little plant has its own shelf now, and it's protected by a bit of black plastic. So I've run out of compost, so I'm down to my manure. I'm throwing a little bit of extra bone meal into each hole just to counterbalance some of the richness of that manure. But it means these plants are either going to burn in their first year with too much nutrient, This lovely little daisy looking thing's gonna go in next. It's got these beautiful blue flowers on it right at the moment, so we'll see. But yeah, either they're going to burn, and I hope not, on the manure, but I think actually they're going to grow enormous is what's going to happen. So I'm taking the chance. Any of them that do, if they do die for any reason, I'll come back and replace them. But just firming in these last few, giving them a home, packing that little hole full of all the goodness that I can find. And as this line of shrubs gets going, and as they put their roots down, they'll secure this bank even better than the grass and the herbs were doing before, and they'll be free to then expand to their full size. Most of these are a mixture of ground cover, creeping, clumping type plants, with a couple of shrubs, smallish shrubs in amongst them, and then some climbers to shoot off up that green wire fencing. And so you're going to get like a cascade of colour and foliage all throughout the year. Just to finish, I want to show you how I make these little black plastic weed protection squares. So you cut a square of weed membrane, cut a star in it, and then just like that, and then put it over the head of the plants and tuck them in with a spade or a trowel. So I'll show you a little bit about how that works here. Now I am doing this one-handedly and left-handedly, which is a bit silly. So you're going to see me wrestle with this poor little little critter here. Is going to get its head knocked off. But yeah, so you arrange it over. Sorry, that's really bad. Arrange it over the plant, and you just dig it in there now. And I think that's where I give up trying to do that left-handedly. But there you go. So we've kept the bluebells. This is the edge here, so the rest of it's going to be done another day. But we finished up with a couple of dwarf rhododendrons for that pink flush, shrubs and ground cover plants, everything with its own shelf, everything with a good dose of nutrient to get started, and a weed-free area to make sure that its roots established without too much grass interference. Daisies and bluebells I'm not worried about, they're welcome, but grass really can smother things if it gets in the way. So the grass will be back, and in a year, with the grass laying over these weed membrane fabrics and with the plants starting to establish and grow bigger, you really won't see this black plastic at all in a few months' time. And that will take away a little bit of the harshness of this initial layout. But I am going to leave it here. It doesn't need to be lifted again. And that's it. That's not a bad start for a sunny May Day bank holiday. Whatever you're doing this May, I hope you're making the most of nature and her gifts. And yeah, I'll see you all again soon.